Self-mastery is built not in grand declarations, but in the quiet, repeated act of honoring your values over your moods. And that is the thought for today. Welcome to 7 Good Minutes. I'm Clyde Lee Dennis. Thanks for joining me for what I believe will be 7 of the most enriching minutes of your day. In today's episode of 7 Good Minutes, we talk about mastering yourself and the true foundation of a powerful life. Enjoy. There's something quietly powerful about a person who walks through life with intention, not rushing, not reacting, just steady, aware, and in command of themselves. That's the essence of self-mastery, not dominance over others, but a deep and grounded ownership of who you are and how you show up in the world. By the end of this episode, you'll understand what self-mastery really looks like, why it's the bedrock of a meaningful life, and how to start building that unshakable inner foundation. Self-mastery begins where most people never think to look, within. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about learning to consistently be your highest self, even when it's uncomfortable. That means recognizing your emotional patterns, being honest about your habits, and choosing your actions based on your values rather than your moods. It doesn't mean you're never frustrated, or tired, or afraid. It means you don't let those states of mind dictate the course of your day. It means you feel the emotion, but you pause before reacting. You consider the outcome. You choose your response. That pause, that moment of conscious choice, is where self-mastery lives. The foundation of this kind of mastery is self-awareness, not the kind that overanalyzes or judges, but the kind that observes with compassion. When you can see yourself clearly, you start to understand why you do what you do. You can trace your behaviors back to beliefs, fears, or unmet needs, and from that clarity, you can begin to shift. But awareness without discipline won't get you far. Self-discipline is the practice of staying true to your priorities when the mood to do so has passed. It's showing up for yourself, not just when you feel inspired, but when it's hard, when it's boring, when no one's watching. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you strengthen your inner foundation. You become someone you can count on. And that consistency, those small repeated acts of alignment, begin to shape your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who's always struggling to change. You begin to see yourself as someone who has changed. Someone who honors their word. Someone who moves with purpose. Self-mastery also means living by your own values, not by default or external pressure. It means taking time to define what truly matters to you, your core principles, your purpose, and letting those guide your decisions. Without a sense of purpose, discipline becomes drudgery. But when you're rooted in purpose, even the hard things feel meaningful. Another pillar of self-mastery is emotional resilience. Life is unpredictable. There will be setbacks, disappointments, and moments when your plans fall apart. Mastery doesn't mean you don't feel the impact. It means you don't collapse under it. You process. You adjust. You move forward with clarity instead of chaos. And let's not forget boundaries. The ability to say no, to protect your energy, to stop tolerating what drains you. These are all acts of self-respect. Mastery is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters most and letting go of what doesn't align with the life you're building. Here's the truth. Self-mastery isn't a destination. It's a lifelong relationship with yourself. It's the way you show up each day, the way you handle pressure, the way you respond to temptation, the way you stay centered even when the world around you is chaotic. It's not something you achieve once. It's something you recommit to over and over again. And here's the good news. You don't have to wait until you feel ready. You don't need a perfect plan. You can begin today, right now, by noticing your next impulse, by taking one breath before you respond, by making one intentional choice that's aligned with your best self. That's the first brick. And with each choice, each moment of presence, each act of self-respect, you build a life that feels calm, strong, and true. That does it for today's episode of 7 Good Minutes. please take a moment to rate and review the show on the platform you're listening on. Until next time, let's be civil to one another out there. Thanks for listening.